Yep, and then we're live. So, hi everybody. We are Conversation on Being with Rachelsilber and Selena today.
Well, we're gonna be very honest here. We are fried. We are melted. We're not sure what we are or who we are, but we're so happy to be here. Helen and I just wrapped up, I don't know what you want to call it, just melted with a 7-day class. So sorry if anything is coming out incoherently. Bear with us, play along, have some fun, giggle because it is funny. And hi, Selena. I mean, of anybody to be joining us today, you're one of the most giggleful people I've ever met. And I love that.
Hi, hello, everybody. Hello, ladies. So I'm like all thrilled.
Last name. Selena
Ardelean. Don't worry, it's Selena. Okay. I'm a star. You know, I'm like Selena, not the dead one. I'm still alive. So let's.
That's right.
And I love your giggles, which are so contagious.
My giggles?
Your giggles are absolutely wonderful. I don't know if you remember this, but I met you at an ESB in Houston a long time ago, and my daughter was there. And there was, my hair was shorter, like pre-quarantine. She walked up to you. So we had very similar looking hair with, from the back. And she walked up to you thinking it was me. Yeah. And it was very, very funny. She's like, Mom, I just walked up to a lady and I started talking to her and it wasn't you. It was funny. And to prove to her brother, who was in Israel at the time, but to prove to him that she wasn't totally crazy, she had a stand and she took a picture of our backsides together to see the curls. So yeah, the giggles and the joy and the funky
and the
hair.
curls.
And the girls, yeah, get even better.
and that's what being is, like being ourselves. Yeah. So, what brought you to being you classes?
And taxes.
Well, let's just say that it wasn't the giggles.
Or actually, was it?
Okay, so it was actually longing for the giggles that brought me to being you. It was, I can't remember exactly where in time, but there was Dr. Dane here giving a class in Moscow. And I remember resisting it. And I was like, what being you? I had read the book, but what being you? Okay, it's a very nice book. Very nice book. But then I wasn't willing to really be with it. So there's this class in Moscow and I get a ping, like those moments when you, I want to do this class. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time, but I wanted to go. Unfortunately, I was too late for the Russian visa. Therefore, I looked at my husband and I want this class. I want this class. I don't know why, but I want this class. And my husband said, okay, but don't bring it on me. Well, that was back then. Now things changed. And it all started with a class in Moscow. There were so many things over there in that class that lightened up for me. And it was like finally somehow receiving some kind of permission to laugh. Because believe it or not, I have been fired 2 times for laughing. So I lost my job 2 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. The only thing I could say was like, seriously? I mean, people do that?
Actually, yes, they did that. I was working in I cannot say the name, but I was working in a serious company. And I was working at the, let's say, front desk, kind of administration reception. It was way back, years back. However, in the lunch break, I would put music on and dance and have a laugh with everybody. Everybody was allowed to have a lunch break except for me. So I had to do something, right, to cheer myself up, and they didn't like it. And they told me once. They told me once. They told me twice. The third time, they moved me to another headquarters. They thought they would train me and they would make me behave somehow, make a professional out of me. And I was all alone in a huge space, looking at my former boss, drinking tea. And I was finding every single little detail to laugh at. So it wasn't good. Because she looked at me and I went,
You probably took it personally. You know, most people don't get how funny, really, everything, even some of the ridiculousness and the border closures and all sorts of the other stuff that's going on in the world now is also funny. And when we see the humor in something, when we're willing to actually like lighten up and laugh, things tend to move with so much more ease. But most people are so unaccustomed to laughing that there is something wrong. Or maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe they're taking it personally, like they're being laughed at rather than, oh my goodness, look, this is so funny. Or maybe they're just not intelligent enough to get the joke.
It's even more than that. I remember when I started Access and I was at a networking event and I was laughing and I was just being myself. And a woman looked at me and she was like looking like this. It's like,
you were strange.
Yeah. And eventually she's like, why are you so happy?
Oh.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It did not compute in my brain. It's like, why not?
Exactly. Why not?
But people, it's like, they don't get a lot of times. And I remember another time years ago, I was in a store with a couple of other people and we were in a grocery store, but we were laughing hysterically because we found something funny. And some people would literally go around 2 aisles just not to be next to us.
Yeah.
And then there was another couple that's like, I'll have what they're having, kind of like from the movie Sally and Harry.
Yeah.
So were other people other than the boss enjoying your energy there?
They were, but they were kind of trained not to show it. They would come, you know, they would sneak out from their offices to me and then we would like giggle under the... But nevertheless, that was one of those...
Giggles. Sorry.
You were saying that you were one of what?
Sorry, you were saying?
You were saying that you were one of those people? What?
No, it was like this was one of those moments in my life that became decisive of laughing is not good. So I could be bubbly up to a certain point, and then when I decided now things are not getting serious enough, I have to be professional, I would be the bitchiest bitch in the world, which didn't match. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I remember I was working at the airport. Now I moved from Romania to Belgium, and my first official job, which I totally enjoyed, was working at the airport. And I remember the first months, people were not approaching me because I had this serious face, this, you know, like very severe, serious face, like, don't come near me, I'll bite your ass. And then at some point, there was some crisis there. I can't remember. One of the flights didn't leave on time. We had to do something. And I started to laugh. I started to make jokes. I started to make jokes with the passengers. It wasn't allowed, but I did it. And then my colleagues looked at me and said, what's this? We never expected you, that you would be so laughing and so bubbly. And everybody was like, and back then I got that there was a huge incongruence between who I was and what I was showing to the people. Yeah. And I would rather go to the scary part, like, don't come closer. But all I wanted to do was, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. But, you know, working.
And when you were choosing to be more congruous, when you were choosing to be more of you, what changed? Like, I'm sure it wasn't like from one day to the next.
No, it wasn't.
What did you begin to change, to shift, to add to?
I allowed myself to lower my barriers. So I came with a lot of stories from Romania to Belgium, trying to prove to be more Belgian than the Belgians. Didn't work out. But I kind of lost myself in the process. And you can go up to one point. And there came the Being You class of Dr. Dane. And it's there when okay, so it's okay to lower the barriers, and it's okay to laugh. It's okay not to carry this bubble around. It's okay. Not only for, how should I say, for previously designed moments when it's okay for everybody to have a laugh, but even in the most inappropriate moments. Like somebody's dying, somebody's having a hard moment. Laughter has always been for me this resource where okay, so how can I have fun with me right now? Not on the other ones, but with me. How smart am I here? You know, that I'm not willing to go to the laughter part. So let's see how we can flip the coin. And it's, how should I say? It's liberating.
Understatement. Literally enlightening. Like you're letting go of all that gravity, all that seriousness.
And I heard them say this, I don't know, thousands of times. Laugh. Don't take yourself seriously. Laugh. And I was like, how can you laugh? You can laugh because you're Dane. I cannot laugh in my classes because I'm not Dane. And then I started.
I have to prove myself, the smart facilitator.
Yeah,
I snort. When I laugh, I squeal, snort, and everything else. Nobody comes out without laughing. Yes.
The funniest thing is that once I start, I cannot stop. It's so much fun that, you know, it's too much fun at some point. However, if there's anybody coming to me and saying, how do you do that? I don't know how I do that, but it's something like I choose even in the most difficult moments. There are some difficult moments. Hey, I can fight, I can scream, I can shout, but I also can have a laughter. So it's a choice, actually, whether you go to fight and or you go to, well, wow. Great, phenomenal. Yeah. What a nice decision. Was that a choice? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, English? Huh? What? Words? What? Is just there's such a, and I'm sorry, my brain literally is on this like slow wave, but there's this such an ease in allowing yourself to be fully, to just be whatever it is that you be, rather than try to adjust yourself for everybody else, for the situation, for, you know, yes, you give people what they can receive, but we're so busy overdoing that and not being ourselves, and instead giving our joy up. And it's not about being manic or giggling or laughing all the time. And I will say the first like Access interview that I'd listened to that I got that was Access, the lady was laughing so much, I was like, I tried to throw the phone in another direction, because I was so pissed off, like, life is serious, damn it. But I got over myself. The more it's like, I'm willing to let go of that point of view. It took me a few listenings, but I knew that if I was that pissed off about it, there was something there for me. And it was where I wasn't allowing myself to be that for so many years. And so I'm not saying that's the only thing, but as you were saying, you can be a bitch when you require, and you can be really giggleful, and you can be resourceful, and you can be serious, and you can be anything. It's all on the
You can be a bitch laughing.
Yeah.
That's the most dangerous combination, I would say. You know, like you're doing that one more time with a smile on the face.
Exactly. So how much are we like suppressing ourselves without being us? And I know you're chose to be facilitator, but there are people that probably will be listening and watching our interview that have no idea what we are even talking about.
Valid point.
So what are those classes of being you? What is being you? What does it mean for people who, let's say, they don't know what access is? What would you tell them?
Okay, to me, okay, what I'm telling them, it's like, imagine that you get naked. Naked in the sense you remove all those layers of clothing or of whatever you're wearing, your armor, your shields. You're willing. Doesn't mean that you will take them off completely, but at least you're willing to try to see what is underneath, because some of those shields you put them on long back, like your father screamed at you and you decided that you're never going to be this or you're never going to do that. Your mom has constantly given you comments about how you look, how you dress, and then you decide, I'm not going to do that, and you're like on automatic pilot, not even choosing anything else that you would like to choose because you know that somehow you're going to upset your mom. And you know, there's a teacher, like I had a teacher, I was 10 years old, and she asked me to draw a tree. And this is very, very, you know, if I think about that maybe it's something there. And I took a ruler, because from my vision, when I looked at the trees, what I loved about the trees was they were straight. To me, they were straight. And I did this with a ruler. And she slapped on my fingers and she said, no tree is straight. This is bullshit. From that moment on, I never tried to draw anything out myself. So it's like, okay, how many things have you heard about yourself from other people, and you believe that they are your truth, and somehow deep inside it's like, yeah, everybody says that I'm a good communicator, but what about my desire to be silent? Everybody is saying that you're such a good professional, but what about if I want to sometimes not finish my work and not care about the work? What about that? So it's this, I'm telling them, when they come to a Being You class, it's like willing to put the shield and the armor at the door, willing. Knowing that if it doesn't work for you, you can always take it back. But guess what? Once they discover the lightness, the freedom of movement, even physically, they discover that they can move like more fluid. They do not want that shield back. They look at it and it's kind of, well, it's there. I can. And you know, it's like the 10-second choice. Like, okay, now you would so much like to have your shield on so that nobody sees how vulnerable you are. What if you allowed yourself those 10 seconds of take a deep breath? Is it really that bad as others were making you think about yourself? Or is it that you're allowing yourself to see what it is to be you?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that description. It's so, I'm very visual, and it's so viscerally visual, all the armoring and all the layers and all the things that we tend to carry, you know, from expectations to projections that other people have, to originally when you were saying, you know, don't wear these clothes or don't draw the trees like this, it just seemed to me like, you know, like when you want to play bowling and you know that you'd like to have your ball go, but they keep putting these
the things to
block your. I'm happy when my ball goes in the gutter. I don't give a fuck. I'm just happy to be able to throw the ball. And I don't go bowling very often. It's been many, many years. But you know, when I was in the States and we'd go bowling, then that was you know, one of the things I didn't like. Those, you know, oh, that's supposed to help you. No, it doesn't help me. It takes the fun out of the game.
Yeah, but that's that thing. How many people serve you, deliver this kind of you, thinking that they are helping you overcome something? What if you don't have to overcome anything? What if you're just experiencing something? Like moms, protective moms. I'm guilty. Yeah, How many of us tell children, don't do that because I know this is going to happen? And then the kids, and in the end, like I look at my second one, right now, he's being pampered somehow by the father. They have their relationship there. Yeah. The little one can do anything. The older one can do anything, but the one in the middle is still waiting for mom and dad to do stuff for him because we helped him a bit too much. So I would like just to say this is, don't be upset with those people who said something to you, or you believed what they said. They did their best at that time with what they had at hand. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Their intentions might have been positive, but it's it's in the past. Even what you decided like 10 minutes ago, it's in the past. What if you have a new choice right now? Like, okay, cool, let's see, let's try. What if it's not true? And this is one of the questions that I love, like if I didn't know this, if I didn't know that I'm not supposed to wear tight clothes because they don't look good on me, if I didn't know that sugar would make me fat, if I didn't know that I have to run 3 times a week to be in good health, if I didn't know all this,
if I wasn't carrying everybody else's assumptions,
what else would be possible? What else could I discover about me?
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. And that's actually the description of Being You classes to a T. So when do you have any classes scheduled right now?
Yes, there's a Being You class. That's actually an introduction coming on the 29th of October. It's going, you can find it on StreamYard, as I see it's going over there, but you can also find it on the Access Consciousness website. It's fresh, it's there, and it's going to be like, now we are making the visuals and we are like making it more attractive. But actually, somebody asked me yesterday, how do I choose classes? And I'm like, you go for it. Just ask. If you didn't know that you had to choose classes in a certain way, how would you choose? Like, if there's no recipe, what would pull you in? Yeah, Selena, but all the classes are like this and like that. Yeah, and yet there's one that's going to call your name, like you stand up in the middle of the night and say, I want this class. This is what happened with me with the Moscow class. And that's where it all started. And for those who don't know, maybe you don't know, but I'm running like the book club, like Being You, changing the word book club in Romanian. It's like a very different type of book club. I'm just telling people, I have 30 minutes right now. Who's on? Let's just get on it. And
I love that.
Sometimes there are 30 people on, sometimes there are 15 people on, sometimes there are 3. But we are reading every day. And, it's like I'm actually, for the first time, savoring the book. There's no, that's me. That's me enjoying the book. Remember when I said in the beginning that when I first read the book, I said, I have to read this book because I have to go to the class. Yeah, good book.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Good book. I think that was one of the things in it. No, like good book. Mine's on the
And it's like, so there are days and days, and some are good, some are bad, because some are good, some are bad. Not totally, but and then you take this book, you open it, and you just, okay, book, what are you willing to tell me today? And guess what? It's like Dane is talking to you and saying, hey.
Yeah, I've done that too. I've had bad days or just days, and I just go, okay, what you got for me today? And I open the book and it is right on to whatever's up in my world. It's really, really funny.
And you talked about the 7 days, and there's a lot that in the last classes we've been talking a lot about the earth and about connecting to the earth. And then actually when I got that laughter heals the earth, it's like, it's not only laughing therapy for changing the mood, but it's such a contribution to the whole world.
Yeah.
And
actually, like, laughter itself is such a much lighter, there's a lightness in it that this world is almost begging for in a very silent way, because it's not like plants and animals are communicating with words, but just they love the energy of space and joy. And before we went live, we saw, I've had one cat on my lap. She's now wandered off to the balcony to sun herself. There's another one right over here. The dog has been known to climb up, and she's a big dog, on people when they're having body processes done, because they appreciate the lightness and the energy, and they enjoy that energy. They're willing to contribute to it. They're willing to receive it. The more lightness we be, the more these the heavy points of view that we're willing to shed, like those clothes that you were saying, or the armor, the shields and the weapons and all that stuff, the more of that we let go of, the more encounters we can have. Yeah.
It's an invitation for others to, some may not appreciate in the first moment that you allowed yourself to laugh. Maybe you are one of those who are laughing at funerals. I do. My family didn't quite appreciate when it happened, but hey, it's a good story to tell afterwards, like funeral anecdotes. But then don't be upset with the people who cannot take it. Maybe it's you, the one who's going to be the invitation to, hey, it can be done differently. I could if I allowed myself, and it's not a question of do it all at once. I mean, if you're one of the lucky ones, hallelujah, good for you. I chose for the heavy path before when you get it. They said, are you willing to be that invitation? Are you willing to be that laughter, that sparkle, that kind of trickles the other ones to at least not be so serious about something? And then everybody look at what happens now, right? In Europe, all the corona stuff regulations got very crazy,
very serious. It's a serious,
very serious suddenly. Like, you guys opened up for a long time, and then suddenly, boom, everything's shut down again.
It is. And are you willing to have a good laugh at it, or are you just going to
Well, what's really interesting, and what was coming up, it's been coming up for me for a while, but it's something that came up in the 7-day in a conversation about essentially whatever you're resisting, whatever you're trying to fix, whatever you're not in allowance of, is just making that even heavier, even more solid, even more difficult for it to even begin to shift and change. Sure. But if you're willing to be an allowance of it, if you're willing to just be present with it, and I know it just sounds like a bunch of words, but it is a choice. What if I didn't have to fix something here? What else is possible here that I didn't see? What is the gift in this situation that I didn't notice before? Just be with what is, and your willingness to be the lightness of you, being with whatever is, begins to allow it to, I don't know, it's like change.
Crackle. To me, it's like crackle, like crack up and then dissipate somehow, miraculously. Yeah. It's like tick, 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 tick. Yeah. And it's a very nice thing that you said about allowance. Can you imagine laughing your heart out and being upset with somebody?
No, you cannot. And it actually brings up very interesting. I remember when my daughter, when she was 5 years old, I got very upset with her about some small things. Rachel knows the story. And I started yelling at her. Normally I didn't, but that was one time when I was so upset that ah! And she was looking at me, and suddenly she started laughing. And it's like, Mommy is funny.
Oh my goodness.
The truth is spoken.
Irate.
No, you can't be mad after that. I did that to my mother too. I was a terrible, terrible little kid. I love that about me. But she was washing my father. We lived in Israel. My father was in the army, and she had my younger brother and I in the bath. And she's, you know, like frazzled working mom trying to get everything. And she's home alone with 3 kids and for like months at a time whenever he was in reserves. So, you know, there she's like bathing us like in this crappy mood. And she used I guess we pissed her off, whatever. She used a sentence in Hebrew which says like, I'm so fed up, you're coming out of my nose. And my brother and I just stopped. We just stopped and we looked at her and we're like, but the holes are so small. How can you actually come out of there? And we were so shocked. And she just started laughing and laughing because it was just so ridiculous. It changes things. Laughter just changes everything.
And now that you're saying, it's again one of those things. And okay, so how much are we stopping ourselves from laughter because we're trying to say the things in the right way?
Yeah.
And then the kids, they take everything literally. You tell them that mom and that they are coming out of their nose, and they're like, mom is fed up, but I want to see that. So this is kids and dogs to me are like the truest ever.
Yeah.
You know?
They don't lie.
They don't lie. They don't lie. They kind of name what they are aware of. And this is kind of the, you know, because some of them didn't yet learn how to be fancy and serious and professional.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for that. You know, I'm really grateful.
3-year-old professional and serious.
No, not generally, but by the time they get to a certain age, like teenagery or whatever, is when they put more value on how they're being perceived than, you know, and if they're doing things, especially now with social media, how many likes am I getting? Or how many, you know, it was for school, but my daughter and I watched The Social Dilemma together. And it was really interesting just to see how we've become trained to look outside of ourselves for any references to, am I being received? Am I doing the right thing? Am I getting enough likes? Rather than, am I actually enjoying myself? What do I know? What's fun for me? And it's such, I'm in such a strange space right now because, you know, I'm taking some classes, some stuff on business, you know, and trying to do quote unquote business right. Of someone who, you know, is telling me, okay, let's get some social media going in the correct way. And I'm like, this does not compute. Literally, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it in the same way that I may have even desired to get it before. There's just this, no, this is not me. It's odd.
That, yeah. And one of the social media, when you want to, I remember Dane saying one time ago about the image. What is the image that you're so willing to keep on, even on social media? That I'm paraphrasing, but I'm going it with, what is that image? What is so valuable about that image that you're not allowing yourself to just be?
Yeah.
But then it's, as you said, it's constantly fed with likes and with, I mean, I posted once, I don't know, I thought it was an absolutely gorgeous, you know, quote, like in consciousness. And I was like, people should give me, I don't know how many likes. And I looked at it and nobody gave me any like. And I was like, you know, sad face, like, what is this? And then Jeremy comes to me and says, oh, poor mom, you didn't get any like. And I was like, what is this?
The world is ending.
But then I realized, to what point are they entrained into, if you're getting the like, then you're the right person. If you're not getting this amount of likes, then you don't count.
Yeah, my kids have said about Dane, how come he doesn't have, so many more followers and so many more, because he's not playing video. I mean, it'd be really funny, but no, he's not playing video games. He's not doing 10,000 TikToks. He's not doing, whatever it is that the younger set follow these gamers and whatever. It's okay. That's what works for them, but not the whole world works the same way. So it's fascinating to see what inspires people. And I have a friend who's, hi, I knew you were on. I saw the heart before. But she's like, you would do a class and just sit there and melt with people and smile at them and laugh with them and hug them. I'd like to do the clearings one after the other. Like, yeah, those are fun, but there's just such a beautiful energy beneath everything.
Totally.
Yeah, because we are each unique. We're so different.
Yeah.
And yet it's just like symphony.
Yeah.
Like everyone has its own place.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, you were saying symphony like the actual. Oh my God! After the 7-day, I didn't even think of the instruments. I was just thinking of a symphony of possibility class. And when I put on the screen and I see everybody doing symphonies, when you're looking at the Zoom and it's not speaker view, but you have a whole bunch of, little television screens there, Hollywood squares. So watching everyone doing their symphony in an entirely, that's what I thought you were talking about. That is so funny.
Yeah,
but it's even in my world about the instruments, but everyone moves and functions and flows and plays and bees such a different way.
Because symphony of possibility is nothing more than just symphony. Like, because music is energy. Energy is music. It's all vibrations. Because even like, not even, but the classical music has a healing properties.
Yeah.
Like the symphony.
And if anybody doesn't believe in vibrations, they should get a trumpet player to come out by their, ear.
Or a drum.
Or a drum. They'll feel vibrations.
Yeah. Or go to like one of the older clubs or discos and stand by one of those, what they call the speakers. Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
And speaking of symphony, for a long time, I felt like I was the one out of tune. Like everybody was doing something and I was like, no musical ear. But what if you knew that you are vital, even if you are not in tune, that you are vital for that symphony?
Yeah.
What if you just knew, instead of judging you for, oh my God, I don't play as I should, I didn't do this, I didn't take classes, I didn't follow the rhythm. What if you knew that who you are, truly who you are, is vital for the symphony of this world?
I love that.
I love that.
I'm going to go into a little rabbi story. Now, I don't remember the name of the rabbi, but I heard it a long time ago. And it was, I think it's Baal Shem Tov, if I'm not mistaken, famous rabbi from like the 1700s. But anyway, it was Yom Kippur, which was the holiest day in the Jewish year, and everybody's in synagogue and they're praying, and all the scholars that are there, and they're praying and they're praying and they're praying, and the town, the young kid who takes care of the roosters and the chickens and all that, and he's uneducated, I think parents passed away or whatever, he didn't know how to pray, he didn't know how to do things according to the rules and regulations of this reality. He just went in and he was so, it all came alive for him. He did the only thing he knew to do, which is crow like a cock, like a rooster. And that's what he did in the middle of the synagogue. And the rabbi, after services, and everybody's yelling at the kid like, you're making noise. But he wasn't making noise. He was being that note of change and difference. And after, when, after the day ended, the rabbi said, we've been forgiven for our sins, but it wasn't because of the prayers of all of these educated people. It was because of this kid that came in and was willing to be himself and ask from the depth of his heart in the only way that he knew how. And so, isn't it? That because it isn't about getting anything right. It's about being that unique difference, that unique, amazing gift that you be with your experience and your giggles, or even, stone face, whatever, all of it.
Totally.
We are.
Yeah, because it's not only about like being always laughing, because it's about being. It's about no matter what's going on, you don't have the shields, like you said.
Exactly.
It's if you are sad, you're sad. If you're funny, you're laughing. Because I remember, like last time we were talking about putting up the mask and hiding the emotions. That's not being you.
Yeah.
Laughing when you're sad, that's not going to create more.
That's not congruent.
No.
So that's the laughter to me. My laughter when I laugh. When I laugh, like laughing, I get a hiccup. And my husband knows, okay, we're going. Selena laughed. It's some sort of a laughter that comes from beyond somewhere, and I get a hiccup. And the more I get a hiccup, the more I laugh. But that's a different story. It's as Helen said, is that congruence. That you laugh because you choose to be happy, you choose that laughter, and hey, it's okay if for 10 seconds you choose to be sad. But then after 10 seconds, what do you choose?
And you can keep choosing to be sad. Like you said, if you come into the class and you put the weapons and the armor and everything on the side, and it's there for you. Nobody's saying you can't have it again. You can always pick it up and choose it again. You can have any of those defenses and barriers and barricades and sadness and emotions and anything else. You can know that you are not that, and you can choose whatever it is that works for you at that moment. Like we've been talking and we've been laughing, and I've had tears in my eyes several times through the conversation, and not from sadness. It's just this like I'm not even sure what to call it. It's this melty, just
emotion, just like so coming up. And a lot of times when we resist being sad or resist being happy, any resistance, it persists. So what I found, if I don't resist the sadness, unless I ask if it's not mine, but if the sadness is there, it usually passes very fast. It doesn't have to stay.
Well, I've had a metaphor for a while, and I'm not sure exactly where I got it. I got it from somewhere because this isn't an original thought, but I'm not even sure like where. But it's like we as the infinite being we be, we're like the blue sky, and I'm looking at the clouds out there. We're like the blue sky. And there are times, there are thoughts that come past, there are emotions that we're aware of, there's all sorts of stuff that comes past, and it may be soft, fluffy, little happy clouds, and there may be just a few of them, and then there may be like bigger clouds, and then there may be storm clouds, and the sky may even be totally covered by big, heavy, gray clouds, but we're not any of those things. We perceive them, we see them, but we're not them. We're what's behind them, beyond them. We're the infinite being. We're that sky. And trying to hold on to an emotion or a feeling or a thought or something like that is like trying to hold on to a cloud. It's kind of useless. It's not going to work. So if we just allow it to pass and know that that's not us, it can keep going and we can still be us.
But I would like to link this with what Helen said, like allow yourself to be sad if you want to be sad, and then don't hold on to it if it's but and I'm coming with indulge in it. Whatever bothers you, stay there, make it huge, ridiculously big, and see whether this is something you like. And might with the time you might realize that's not maybe that's not what you would like to choose.
At the moment.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe not in that 10 seconds. Now it's time to shift and move.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Ladies.
And that, to me, is the epitome of all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Because there's no resisting anything, and there's being present with everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if you find it that sometimes you would like to try more, you would like to dive in, look for a class. I mean, there are so many absolutely gorgeous facilitators of Being You. It's that we are all over the world, and you know what? What if we can learn from you? What if you inspire us to be even more of ourselves?
That's right.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Thank you. That was really a lot of fun.
And ladies,
for all of us.
You're changing the world. Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
So are you. I love this. I love these conversations. I love this space, and I love the magical unicorn leprechaun friend behind you.
But there. So on this, we say bye-bye.
Time to
change the world.
We're changing the world and laughing out loud. Yes. All right, with that, we're ending the broadcast. Thank you.